The Solas Starlight with the adventuring dial is a watch that's really hard to capture on video and in pictures. It really is one of those watches that you need to see in the middle to admire its beauty. Quality build, captivating dial, and decorated movement. This really is a unique package that was well executed by D.U. Wu. Mr. Wu is a naturalized Irish citizen and has had close affinity with the Irish language and culture, and that's clearly displayed throughout the watch. Solas was started in 2019, and as a watch brand, it is proudly designed in Ireland. Mr. Wu wanted to represent his country, and represented it has. Solas is Irish for solace. This name was chosen as Mr. Wu was going through some, tough times, and this project allowed him to divert his energy into something that would not only bring him joy, but joy to other enthusiasts. The word solace is also relevant to the brand, and it means light. And you could truly see that on the dial. The reason the watch is called the Starlight is primarily due to the dial material. You see, aventurine is a material that can be either man-made or naturally made. This particular dial is man-made, but it glistens with understated and subtle pinpoints of light, and each dial is unique, as the manufacturing process has no two dials be the same. The watch is currently live on Kickstarter, and what you get for less than $400 is really remarkable. The case of the watch measures in at 38 millimeters, is 48 millimeters from lug to lug, it's 9.7 millimeters thick, and the lugs measure in at 20 millimeters. The entire case is 316L stainless steel, and we find AR sapphire crystals on both the front and the back of the watch. It only weighs in at 41 grams, and it's water resistant to 50 meters. Powering this watch is the Hangzhou 5000A movement that features a micro rotor, and it has some Pho Geneva striping throughout. The color variation between the silver and the gold really sits well with me because it helps highlight that micro rotor. The entire case feels pretty well built, and it's entirely polished. And the lugs on this watch are very unique in the sense that they feature a step as they meet the side of the case, and when the light hits it, it creates a really cool shadow. At the 3 o'clock, we find a push and pull crown featuring the company logo. In the first position, you can wind the watch. In the second position, you can change the date on the fly. And lastly, on the third position, you can set the time. The overall proportions of this case are really good, and it's the perfect size for my 6 and 7/8 inch wrists. It's comfortable enough to wear the whole day without any wrist fatigue. Next, I want to talk about the adventuring dial. When I first took this out of the box, the light hit the dial and I was mesmerized by it. I personally had never seen anything like it, and it brought me back to my early days of watch collecting, of geeking out every single time I would see something new on a watch. The dial in low light does appear black with some sparks, and it glitters just a tiny bit. But once the light hits it, oh boy, you get all kinds of colors in there, like silver, blue, and even a little bit of hue of purple. It really is a sight to see. And between the 7 o'clock and the 8 o'clock, we find the second repeater. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm definitely a sucker for this complication, as it really evokes a strong resemblance to vintage watches. The hour, minute, and second hand are all dolphin style shape, and they're 100% polished. The date window sits at 3 o'clock, and although the date window is not dark blue like the dial, instead it's black, it really blends in nicely. The Solas logo has been applied and is at the 12 o'clock position, and I really enjoy the playful font they chose to go with. And at the 6 o'clock, we find the word designed in Ireland, of course written in Irish. And lastly, the triangular indices that were chosen to give a subtle nod to the signs that are found above the vowels in the Irish language. Although the watch itself is not built in Ireland, the full grain Horween leather strap that's sourced from the US has. It features a very well finished deploying buckle with the company logo that's super easy to open and operate, and it's completely polished. The strap itself is super supple, and you could tell some time was definitely spent in the crafting department, and I love that they also included a quick release system. More companies need to definitely take note and do this. On the back of the watch, we are greeted with the Hangzhou 5000A. This is a Chinese movement that beats at 28,000 BPH, has a power reserve of 42 hours, it's windable, but unfortunately it's not hackable, and it does feature a date complication. What's so unique about the movement, of course, is the micro rotor. Honestly, you don't see a lot of watches with micro rotors, especially not in this price point, and there's a good reason for that. You see, a micro rotor is mainly for decoration, to really show off the movement, as traditional rotors sit on top of the movement and it hide all the glory. There's a lot of work and R&D that goes into producing a micro rotor movement. By decreasing the rotor size compared to a standard rotor, the winding mechanism must be highly efficient to ensure the watch stays wound. Around the display caseback, we do find a few engravings that are all in Irish except for the English model name. One of the cool things about their Kickstarter campaign is that they actually hit one of their stretch goals, and now they will include real blue screws to further improve the look of the movement. Overall, the watch is very wearable and is definitely a showstopper. This would be a great conversation starter. But the watch does have its shortcomings. I would like to see the water resistance be at least 100 meters. I don't like that the movement can't be hacked, and honestly that the power reserve is only 42 hours. Another thing I would have liked to see would be some brushing on the case. In my opinion, that gives it a more refined look, and although the date complication is very useful, I just think aesthetically it doesn't work with the dial. It would have looked a lot cleaner without it. However, there's some minor details that for the price point can be overlooked and forgiven. I honestly would recommend this watch, and at some point, I would love to add a micro rotor watch to the collection. If you haven't already, head on over to the company's website to learn more about the watch and Mr. Wu. Thank you so much for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe, and stay humble, my friends.